character of a man is known when he does not know what to do in life, you know. And you know, I mean, when during the pandemic, that was exactly what the stage was like, that nobody knew what to do with, but what you did with your time, you know, really mattered. And that's where I think, you know, the pandemic was a great learning for a lot of non-technical entrepreneurs like me, to actually delve into other aspects and look at a new dimension, you know, of ourselves. और financial independence का एक ही तात्पर्य है that your passive income should exceed your active income. तो आप जो भी अभी अगर आप अभी start कर रहे हैं, तो the first thing you should focus on is to build your capital. First and foremost thing. Don't deviate at that particular juncture. You're making like 5 lakh, 10 lakh, 20 lakh rupee accrual. You know, MRR, ARR means nothing. Eventually, what matters is, are you holding a 5 crore, 6 crore, 7 crore, or even a 1.5, 2 crore corpus through which you're generating passive income, which covers your basic expenses.
Hi Manvir, how are you?
Hi Avi, how's it going? How are you?
All well, thank you very much, Manvir. Thank you for taking the time out for all of us over here.
Been a pleasure. Cheers.
Awesome. So how can one find your perfect niche for a startup in 2022? We're going to talk about that. Manvir Anand is an hospitality event expert, catering success evangelist, founder and CEO of Night Gourmet, and the author of the best-selling book, Catering Your Way to Financial Independence. Two-time TEDx speaker, and also is the podcast host of the Catering Success. A lot of people say, yaar, itna niche down nahi karna chahiye. But आपने niche down करके इसी के बीच में इतना अच्छा business बना लिया. Congratulations, we're going to talk all about that. But first, we want all the internet moguls to welcome you in the chat with fire and heart emojis. That's how we like to welcome everyone. Awesome. So Manvir, a little bit about yourself, and then I believe you have a presentation for us.
Absolutely. Like I said, you know, we'll be sharing, and like I said, you know, I'll try and keep it specific to my niche, which is a hospitality side of things. But I will, I'm sure that entrepreneurs all across spectrums, you know, will get a lot of value, because the fundamentals of business can't really change, right? And that's 100%. How, you know, it's been structured broadly. So happy to do this, and yeah, you know, happy to share.
Before we start the presentation, I wanted to ask you, when it comes to entrepreneurship in 2022 versus, you know, what was happening before COVID. Have you transformed? Have you had to transform as a person, as a business, think new, be new, maybe put some new rituals and practices in your own personal life?
So, you know, Avi, the beauty of post-pandemic era was that, you know, there was so much learning and a lot of unlearning, you know, because, you know, I mean, like, you know, it's said that once you happen to get into a conventional business, you know, your focus is always sales ops. But this entire, you know, strata of content about, you know, people talking about, you know, a lot of, you know, digital revolution happening, wherein which, you know, if you happen to be in like a non-technical business, which is where I was, it was very difficult for us to adapt, apparently. Even though I come from a management consulting background, I never had even an inkling towards getting into the content side or the internet side or the digital side for that matter. But, you know, like I said, the best things are you know, such opportunities wherein which I was just repeating this, and I'd like to start this on the same note, that a character of a man is known when he does not know what to do in life, you know. And you know, I mean, when during the pandemic, that was exactly what the stage was like, that nobody knew what to do with, but what you did with your time, you know, really mattered. And that's where I think, you know, the pandemic was a great learning for a lot of non-technical entrepreneurs like me, to actually delve into other aspects and look at a new dimension, you know, of ourselves, wherein which we can not only reinvent our business, but, you know, we as individuals. Because sometimes I always believe that in a pre-pandemic era, it was you were as good as your business. But you know, the hybrid branding aspect is something I only learned after the pandemic, wherein which you yourself are a personal brand and your business is a different brand altogether. And the entire aspect of hybrid marketing, you know, as an entrepreneur you need to do, is something I learned. So yeah, it's been great learnings. But like I said, you know, it's always good to learn and evolve, and that's awesome. What the pandemic was. Yeah.
Awesome. That's going to be fantastic. So I'm going to switch off my video and you have sharing rights. Totally over to you. Look forward to learning from you.
Up for it.
Thank
Up
you.
for it. Okay, guys. Great, great, great. I'll just probably share my screen with you, and that's when we are good to go. So, guys, before I start, I think we have 53 people in the room right now. And before I start, I just want to know from you guys, how many of you guys excited about doing this session? How many of you guys really think that, you know, what you're going to be learning is something interesting today? Give me a yes or no in the chat box. If you think you're excited, give me a yes in the chat box, guys. Okay, Gagan says yes, Kanish says yes, Amit says yes, fantastic. Okay, great, guys. Harshit says yes, fantastic, guys. So now that, you know, we have ideally figured out that, you know, today is when we'd be talking about something very, very interesting. Like I said, I'd be sharing to you about my niche, and I would really be open to a lot of questions from your sides, you know, after the session, wherein which, you know, it'll be good to understand, you know, what are your thoughts and how we can relate this to your industry, your specific niche. But before I take it forward, I would also want to know, you know, who are the people who are part of this group. Just tell me, what is your current niche like? Are you an entrepreneur in a certain industry? So just mention, if you're in textiles, say entrepreneur textile. If you're a service professional, say service professional IT. Let me know in the chat box who you are, so that I know who you are and I can accordingly try and draft something accordingly. Go ahead, guys, in the chat box. Let me know. Fantastic. I think, you know, okay, business automation, Dhananjay says, Savi says she's a Vastu expert. Chetra says health and wellness coach. Padma says service professional. Fantastic. So I think it's a mixed bag. Okay, G. Anand says recruiterpreneur. I love that statement, you know. Fantastic. So Om Prakash Varna, yoga trainer. Great, guys. So I think it's a mixed bag, and, you know, there's so much, you know, which we can talk about. And like I said, my learnings from the hospitality industry is what, you know, we'll be implementing here, and that's what, you know, we'd be focused around today. So like I said, what we're doing today is we're finding your micro niche. What is your micro niche, guys? And before I do that, like I said, I would just want to walk you through my story, because I've been one of the you know, very similar people in the industry, you know, who've been just trying to figure out their niche, and it took me quite a while to find where do I actually belong. So with your permission, I just want to walk you through a small brief about what is it that I do, and accordingly how I was able to find my niche, and that will give you a better perspective. So like I said, now that I know about you, I myself come from the food capital of India. Like I said, it's Delhi, and the interesting aspect was that ever since, you know, I was 16, I was just trying to find my own niche, right? And, you know, I started my first business at the age of 16, which was a social media marketing company. I took up sciences, apparently, you know, in my school. And I, again, didn't know what to really do about, you know, because a lot of people wanted me to become a pilot, and someone thought that probably, you know, getting into the technology field would be better for you. But I found my calling in economics. And with economics, I was under the impression that probably, you know, I mean, getting into the WHOs or the World Health Organization and the UNs, you know, would have been a great calling for me. But not really, guys. What I got through was a management consulting job. And in that management consulting job, after 3 years of grind, you know, I came to the conclusion that why not start a business of sorts, because, you know, I didn't really understand, you know, where the calling was. And like every other professional, I was trying to find my calling, and that was where the food business came into being. And that's when I started my first cloud kitchen business way back in 2013. And again, the business grew. We scaled up to a sizable volume, sold that business off. And that's again, you know, and why I share this with you is that I believe, you know, if we have 50 people in this room, everyone at some point in their life would have been in that stage ki ab kya karu? Ye kar liya to ab kya karu? And that ab kya karu aspect is such an important aspect, wherein which your niche becomes very important. And today, I basis my previous startup, you know, it was in the hospitality space, but it was in a cloud kitchen space. I was thinking that I went to a culinary school in London, and I came back to realize one of the best learnings, you know, which nothing could have taught me. I think, you know, which was that you don't have to be a chef or a hotel management graduate to start a food business. And that's where I thought that the career choice I need to make is of being an entrepreneur. And that's where it could have been any industry, but I took up hospitality because that's where I had the inkling. Today, I run this company called Night Gourmet Services, which which does quite a bit of stuff, and we are partners to IPL, IIFAs, a lot of major events of sorts, and we have 3 local offices. But the idea is what? That ever since I've been focusing on hospitality as a niche. But like I was discussing with Avi, the moment the pandemic struck, I was actually, imagine running a multi-crore business, but that actually comes to a standstill. And like a lot of digital entrepreneurs, I didn't have the bandwidth of actually going digital, because I didn't really know much about that. And that's where I happened to use my downtime to write this book called Catering Your Way to Financial Independence. And today we run a coaching consulting initiative which is called TKG Ventures, in which we are trying to empower entrepreneurs. And why I'm sharing all these aspects is because, like I said, while I've been changing the spectrums, and even I'm doing the same work till date, what remains static is this specific niche of hospitality industry. Now, hospitality also is relatively broad, and there can be restaurants, there can be catering, there can be cloud kitchens, there are multiple aspects which I'll be talking to you about. But what remains static is your niche. And that's what we'd be talking to you about. What exactly is your niche, and how do you find that essentially? Like I said, what I really want to focus on today is that I want to ask you guys, as part of this group, what do you think does niche even mean? Anyone in the chat box, guys, I want to know, what do you think niche really means? Go ahead, guys. I want to see in the chat box. Okay. What do you think, guys? क्या होता है निश? ये निश पे हम बात कर रहे हैं, पूरा सेशन रख दिया. Speciality, I think Niharika really, Harshit says area of speciality. Passion, that's interesting. Chetra says subcategory, talking to super specific audience. I love that, Santosh. And like I said, it's such an important aspect, which is underrated, mind you guys. Kanis says expertise. Savi says more specific area of focus. Fantastic, guys. So broadly, do we agree on the thesis that it's about a speciality and being, like I just love what Savi said, more specific area of focus, or like what Santosh said, talking to super specific audience. In actual terms, niche, as per dictionary meaning, means a specialized segment of the market for a particular kind of product and service. Now, why do you think, guys, that is important? And I will tell you exactly what mistakes a lot of entrepreneurs make, wherein which you'll also be able to gauge why do I talk about that. But a specialized segment of the market is something which communicates to the customer ki boss yahi karta hai, isi mein expertise hai. And I'll show it to you in the future, in the further slides with examples, how it makes such an important difference in the hospitality industry. Let's take the example of most important aspect, which is another word for clarity. I mean, I'll just add to that, which is clarity. Clarity to whom? To your customers, to your employees, and to any other stakeholder. That's another word for niche. While you've told me multiple other aspects, but the most important aspect is it provides clarity. And clarity ki value ek business mein, like you could have been a fitness trainer. Why did you say yoga specifically? Because it makes easier for you to attract a certain kind of people, the true entrepreneur. But then in that, what is the kind of niche you're focusing on? Are you focusing on IT? You're focusing on what aspect? That will make it clearer. And it builds your, so the first thing what Avi said, event hospitality expert, that's a niche I was able to build for myself, which is specifically focused on event hospitality, because when people didn't understand catering, that's the way I had to explain it. But clarity is what niche provides you with. Now I'll go further deeper by giving you an example. A lot of people talk about cloud kitchens. Now I'm giving you an example of cloud kitchens, and I don't know how many of you understand about cloud kitchens, but that's the recent phenomena wherein which you can start a restaurant business out of the comfort of your home, or a vacant space, or a vacant property of sorts. And that's a great I would say outcome of the pandemic, wherein which this has been really accepted by the people, and this has really grown manifold. But the question which a lot of people tell me, And why, here is where I will just tell you why a niche becomes so important. That I have told you about what a cloud kitchen means, the ability to start your own restaurant from the comfort of your home, a simple line. But a lot of people tell me, boss, cloud kitchen kya hai? Kuch bhi nahi hai. Cloud kitchen, ghost kitchen, dark kitchen, internet first restaurants, they are nothing but they are a home delivery business. Now, I want to ask you, you sitting behind the camera, is it a home delivery business? Is it every business which we're talking about a home delivery business? Right now, probably, there's a Ola Dash, there's a big basket, there is a, I believe tons of, your home delivery businesses, which exist in the market probably. But when you call it a home delivery business, which is a common problem I see a lot of people talking to you about, that is not finding your niche. It's being broader. So the moment you become specific about food delivery, because a lot of people, come up with the same terms. And that's why I tell them that cloud kitchen in today's time is not a home delivery business. It's about building a niche, which I will again tell you in details that while cloud kitchen is a broader niche in the entire food business spectrum, but it is at least, once you become, because a lot of people tell me it's a home delivery business. Kya karna hai, khana leke ghar mein bhejna. I understand that, but you have to be specific, because a lot of times, with the delivery space really expanding, you have to really get into the specifics about what your business does, which is what I'll be telling you in the next slides. Now, like I said about cloud kitchens, in theory, it might be a kitchen plus delivery, but today every business has become a data and brand business. And I'll tell you about why it's a data and brand business, because your data will tell you who are the exact customers, in any business for that matter. The data of your customers, the data of people, like I said about clarity, right? It's the same way. The moment you start vetting through your data, you're able to build the right brand for yourself. And that's why every business today has become a data and brand business. And that's why even a home delivery business is not the right term for you. You have to be specific about cloud kitchens, whether you're running a cloud kitchen or you're running a restaurant, to be specific about what do you exactly do. Now, like I said, I would specifically share with you the reasons why a lot of entrepreneurs, and while I am talking to you about cloud kitchen specifically, please resonate this with your specific business, because I'll be able to walk you through exactly the mistakes which each one of us does with their own respective businesses. The common pitfalls which we all make because of lack of clarity or lack of niche in our business. And let's put it into examples for each one of us, right? The first one is lack of growth mindset. When you don't know what you want to do, like today, a niche can be probably opening up a cloud kitchen, but guys, cloud kitchen is no niche. It has to be specific. What cuisine, what detailing. So when you have, and like I said about fitness for that matter, you can say I'm a fitness instructor, but if you don't have a set niche there, either you're into yoga, you're into Pilates, you're into what exactly, there's no clear standing of the brand which comes through. And that's where, once you don't have a clear standing of the brand, you don't think long term, which is why you start focusing on smaller retail margins. Ki boss, kahin se bhi paise aaye, the ball should be rolling, gaadi chalni chahiye. That is what the idea is. But idea is that, if you're focused on a certain aspect, you're known for it. Second aspect, which is improper menu planning, which is where, like I said, if you look at your services, the best answer, what I would have in a niche scenario is, what are the kind of services, you offer? Like in a cloud kitchen scenario, the biggest problem I see with entrepreneurs is that they come up with broader menus. मतलब एक ही menu में दाल भी है, Chinese भी है, continental भी है, burgers भी हैं, pizzas भी हैं, pasta. Tell me, guys, and I want to ask you a question here. If I give you an option to go to, and if you really want to go to a good restaurant and you're really craving for a good good burger for that matter, would you want to go to a gourmet burger joint, or a burger specialized restaurant, or you'd like to go to a Bikaner wala or a Haldiram in India, wherein which you get everything? Let me know with a yes or no in the chat box, guys. Would you prefer a specialized burger brand, or you want probably a Haldiram beginner wala, a generalist restaurant? Let's put it that way. Let me know, guys. A specialized one or specialized segment, Yogita says. Fantastic. Okay, Savi says specialized, Gagan. So that is what the idea is, guys. For you to build a perception in the mind of the consumer, you have to position yourself as an expert into one thing. You can't be an expert of 20 different areas. And that's where is the important aspect that broader menus never really sell. Going forward, because you're not specific, there's a lot of lack of standardization issues, which is about the portion size, the type of final product. Now, compare this to your kind of service. Someone was just now shared with me, he's in the recruitment business. Now, the kind of recruitment business you do defines the kind of client you are looking for. For example, the kind of blue collar hiring, what happens is very different from the white collar hiring. The IT hiring, what happens is very different from the kind of hiring which what you do for a food business, for that matter, right? So because you're not specific on one thing, your quality parameters will change from one event or one mandate to another mandate. Because of which what happens is there's lack of standardization, which is exactly what happens in the food business. Because you do 20 different cuisines, you don't have specialists. You can't have like a burger specialist, a Chinese specialist in one kitchen, because there's a cost to manage. And that's why once you focus on a specific niche, you're able to build standardization. And this is one of the major pitfalls, I think, pitfalls and the aspect to have a caution for any entrepreneur. Because the more you don't have specialization for something, your service quality will vary every time. Moving on, guys, I'll take it faster from here. Inadequate marketing, like I said, because you're not clear, your marketing communication is not clear to people, so you can't really do much. Then data economics, because again, you're focusing on anyone and everyone, you can't really capture the right kind of data in the market. And like I said, if you don't have a set niche, this will really backfire onto you. And the last and the most important aspect, which is about P&L planning and so on and so forth. Now, this is something specific to cloud kitchens. And like I said, these are some common pitfalls which a lot of entrepreneurs make. But like I said, all of them start from the single premise, which is not having a clear niche. Now, taking this forward, let's talk about what are the keys, what is the exact key to success in your entrepreneurial career. And I'll stick to only 2 points. 2 points. Why? Because there's paucity of time, and there's so much which I think we need to talk about, and there can be a pseudo Q&A which we can have after this. But the key to success in your entrepreneurial career, because I fundamentally believe entrepreneurship is a career option. Like I said, I could have been anything else, but entrepreneurship is a choice I made. Now, hospitality is a specific niche I picked up. Cloud kitchen and catering is specific to a niche which I have as part of my group. So likewise, what is the key to success in your entrepreneurial career? The first thing and the most important aspect, which I fundamentally believe, is the vision and the brand. Like I said, why I share this with you is because whenever you pick up your niche, what is very important for you to understand is what is the exact vision you have for it. Because otherwise, kya hota hai, that once you have 20 options with you, for example, like I told you about recruitment, right? You're focused on 20 different spectrums. You're figuring out IT, you're figuring out your blue collar employment and so on and so forth. There are 20 aspects you can focus on. Because of which, what will happen is you will not be able to maintain focus, and the business will always remain like a mom and pop store, the way it's called, right? And I'll recommend you this book, which is by John Barello, called Built to Sell. Just read that book. It's a beautiful book which teaches you how someone was running a creative agency business, and he only focused on building a logo making company, which he was able to sell off and so on and so forth. But what is important is the kind of vision you have, and that vision comes only from clarity of thought. Like I said, think like a brand from day one. And that will only come once you decide that, boss, I will not deviate from 10 different things. If the market is switching towards a certain thing, yes, that'll keep working on. But for example, in an industry like mine, you can probably also have a couple of side hustles, but your core has to be set. There are a lot of experiments which every company does. Even an Apple does probably, they get into gadgets and, they get into 20 other different things, but the core remains simple, which is hardware. Google is specific on the search engine aspect, and then they build 20 other streams. So once your core stream is working out well, you can do 20 other things. And that's why it's very important that you build your vision with that one specific niche you want to take it forward with. Like in my case, I figured out that after selling my cloud kitchen business, the only thing which could have given me a long-term sustenance was my catering business, which ideally, a lot of people think, and the beauty is, when I started my first business, I didn't even know this term. I didn't even know what catering basically means. But it's the niche what you learn in the market, that where, and probably if there's another word I can put to it is, कि जब जहां सब लोग देख रहे हैं ना, like everyone thinks, a restaurant business is a gold rush. कोई भी, any person, who probably starts up a business, or wants to start a food business, the first thought comes to him is a restaurant business. But let me tell you, it has the highest shelf life. The lowest shelf life as part of a business. People shut shop in less than a year, or less than probably 6 months. The reason being that when everyone is looking at one thing, you are up for trouble. So look for small niche areas in the entire food business spectrum. What can really sell? So for example, I was of the opinion that, and let me give you another example from cloud kitchen. Now let's talk about catering as an industry. What do you think about when I talk to you about catering? 90% of the people I meet, 90% of the people think that I do wedding catering, for example, because catering is synonymous with weddings. Apparently, as for the 6 years of my starting night Gourmet, I didn't do a single wedding apparently. I picked up a niche of conferences, of events, of sporting events, and corporate events, broadly, nothing else. But the focus was clear that let's focus on the markets which nobody else is focusing on. We picked up a specific window called stadiums, which nobody else was picking up on. So my point is, the vision and the brand clarity has to be, and then you have to act like a brand from day one. Like I said, you have to always understand these 4 aspects, which I tell to every F&B entrepreneur. And if you also understand, you'll be much ahead of a lot of people, in the broader spectrum of things, who don't even know where they're going. You never make big money by focusing on retail profits. And that's why I'm talking about a vision and a brand. I've been harping about this aspect about catering and about cloud kitchens, about your specific niche. Why? Because the important thing to understand is कि ये जो दिन की आप sales करोगे या whatever practice sessions you're doing, or this immediate deal you've closed, is not going to make you long-term money. Your brand is going to make you the long-term money. And that is where I tell people within my community that you can either build, you can make big money by either selling a brand via franchisee, or probably selling your outlet or your service or your business on an as-is basis. A lot of businesses selling your brand collaborations. I think, there are multiple brand collaborations which come up in a food business, which again, what a Subway and Coca-Cola does, and a McDonald's and a Coca-Cola does typically. But like I said, think about your business. Can you sell brand collaborations? You look at a lot of makeup artists, probably they're coming up with like, collections with a Nykaa, or probably with like all these cosmetic brands, for that matter. So brand collaborations, that's where you make the big money. And the retail money is just for sustenance, whatever small service you're doing, but the focus has to be on a bigger goal. And that's why a niche becomes important, because people need to know you by something at least, right? People can't assess ki boss, Savi does probably, healthcare coaching, she's a life coach, or probably like, I think, coaching industry is a perfect example, right? It's always about niche, right? I mean, why people are getting into life balance coach, there are so many detailed terms they're coming up with, because they have to be identified a certain way. And the last and the most important aspect, selling your business. Probably if you build a niche for yourself and a certain equity, then people are eyeing for that equity in your business. So if you own 100% of your business, probably a person would be willing to pay 20% and be willing to pay like a hefty sum to buy equity into your business and be a silent partner. So like I said, that's where you make the big money, and that's why your niche becomes so important. And that's why I go a step ahead and walk you through what I recommend people to do, even if they're sitting on the first day of their business. Even if you're sitting on the first day of your business, then that's an exercise which I do. And I would recommend this to you as a task. If you can do it for yourself, guys, I think I've done some justice to this particular group, because like I said, this is a broader spectrum of entrepreneurs. And if you can do this for yourself, you'll thank me afterwards. That start asking yourself, what is your brand story like? What is your brand story like? So even if you're on the first day of your business, write a name for your company. Probably make a small logo. Probably you can use a Canva template also. That also works. Or probably you can hire someone. But always, even if you're starting your business, build a logo for yourself. It'll give you a lot of comfort. And that's why, your niche, your logo needs to define what do you do exactly, right? And that's why it's very important for people starting out in the room. And then the most important aspect, brand story. What does brand story basically mean? How did you actually start? Can you relate a story to your business? Like, I love the way Avi's tagline says that we don't look at entrepreneurs in the world, we only look at internet moguls. I was like, that is superb. What bio is this? This is phenomenal, that way, right? So likewise, look at these specific aspects and do it as an exercise for yourself. If you're a food entrepreneur, probably even look at your packaging and so on and so forth, because like I always say, in the food business, I tell people, who come for our sessions for Cloud Kitchens, I tell them, you have to think about how you can bring a restaurant quality experience to the comfort of people's home. Likewise, you as an entrepreneur in your specific segment needs to really look at that aspect, that how can you provide a 5-star quality experience to a consumer who's buying your service. And that is only possible once you start thinking a certain way. Once you think, I'm just probably Parth or Smriti, I'm just an individual for that matter. Kya ho gaya, meri service ekdam kharab ho gayi, I'm just one in like 7 billion. That is when things go for a toss. And that's why in your mind, your niche plays a massive role. So guys, how many of you guys think what I'm saying makes sense or not? Give me a yes or no in the chat box, guys. I know it's hospitality focused, but give me a yes or no in the chat box. It'll really give me a lot of motivation to tell you further. Okay. Harshit says yes, Neha says yes, Savi says yes. Fantastic, guys. I'm happy to see that you're resonating. And my only thesis is one, that like all of us, the day we start thinking we are a brand, our way of dealing with people, the way you communicate, that all changes. And that's the first basis and the first important aspect. Now let's get into the core aspect why this session was held. And that's where I come to this important aspect about curated photography. All these aspects are there, but what I always talk about, and I loved when Avi's team, I was discussing with that, the super secret in the food business, and believe you me, everyone knows these concepts. सबको सब कुछ पता है क्या करना है, but बताने की जरूरत पड़ती है. And it's for me also a lot of times, guys. We're all learning as part of our entrepreneurial journey, but it's about brushing these facts. And the important aspect I wanted to share with you is that you can't be everything to everyone. This is one of the fundamental realities of my entrepreneurial journey. सब कुछ करोगे, कुछ नहीं मिलेगा. If you fall for everything, you'll not get anything. And that's the reality, guys. The day you're not known for a certain thing, you're done. And that's what, we're talking about, the niche aspect. And this is where I wanted to probably walk you through what I call as the ABCD model, what we build for cloud kitchen entrepreneurs, which really, I would say not even cloud kitchen. So broadly, these are the two spectrums we look at. But let's look at the niche clarity in F&B business, the ABCD model, the way I call it. Now, let's look at it from a broader perspective. Aaj ki date mein, like I told you, I am, the first thing what Avi said was that I'm in the catering space, which is a relatively very detailed niche. A first-time entrepreneur will not even know what catering is. That's the same case with me. But if you see the entire spectrum of the food business canvas का मतलब बड़ा simple मैं बताऊंगा कि food business का spectrum बहुत बड़ा है. There is an element of hospitality which covers hotels, your restaurants, dine-in restaurants, and dine-in restaurants you have, which is a specific niche, which can be like you want to build a quick service restaurant, जैसे McDonald's होता है. You want to build a fine dining restaurant like an ITC Bukhara, or you want to build like a takeaway restaurant, or probably you want to build a casual dining restaurant, which is like a quick, fun, quirky, cafe or a bar of sorts. So that's a different spectrum. Now, cloud kitchen in itself is a broader niche. What I was telling you in the first aspect was that आधे लोग तो यही नहीं mention करते हैं कि भाई मैं cloud kitchen हूँ. A lot of people mention that I'm a home delivery business, which in itself is a broader niche of what people, the moment you say cloud kitchen, people understand, that it's a dark kitchen, it's a ghost kitchen and it's operating at a certain place. So it gives people clarity. So broad niche is very important. Like out of this entire spectrum of the food business canvas, like restaurants, hotels, cloud kitchen, catering, I personally, my bread and butter came from catering as an industry. And then, of course, I have multiple investments in the cloud kitchen space through my experiences. But let's talk about cloud kitchens in specific. Cloud kitchen being a broader niche, if you talk about, the entire, and in the same way it can be fitness as a broader niche. Now, I believe as an entrepreneur, you have to be specific. Ab wo time gaya that, you can just say that, I'll open up a cloud kitchen which does 20 different things. I don't want to be a Haldiram of cloud kitchens, right? Especially when I'm ordering online. And I want to give you the example of cloud kitchens. Why? Because सबसे relevant चीज है ये इस time पे. Relevant चीज क्यों है? Because generalism somewhere has lost value. And while I fundamentally believe as an entrepreneur, you have to be generalist to a large extent. You have to dabble into your ops, your sales, your HR, your fundraise and 20 other things. But what is important is, guys, that broad niche pata honi chahiye kahan jana hai. And that's why you have to be slightly specific. You have to drill down further, which is you have to be specific. Either you want to do Indian cuisine, you want to do Pan-Asian cuisine, you want to do continental cuisine. What cuisine you want to do? Be specific on that. You want to be known as an Indian restaurant or a Pan-Asian restaurant, figure that out. But kaam usse bhi nahi banega. You have to be then further specific. In Indian, what is it that you want to do? You want to do North Indian cuisine, you want to do Southern Indian cuisine, because people don't understand. Imagine going to a Zomato or a Swiggy and probably not really knowing that this is an Indian restaurant. But what is the niche? क्या करते क्या आप इंडियन में? इंडियन तो बहुत ही बड़ा cuisine है, कम से कम 27 states in the country. There are 27 cuisines. Forget 27, there will be 35, 36 cuisines. Because every region also has, Bundelkhandi cuisine, and then, you have Northwest Frontier cuisine and so on and so forth. So that is where the important aspect comes in, that you have to figure out your micro niche. Detailing, bilkul detailing. Detailing का मतलब क्या हुआ? That the way I told you right now, that in North Indian, you can't just say I'm a North Indian restaurant today in today's time, or a North Indian cloud kitchen for that matter. You have to be specific. What is your brand around? Is it a tikka and kebabs brand? Is it a Bihari cuisine restaurant? Is it an Avdi cuisine restaurant? Is it Amritsari cuisine restaurant? Is it only Bangalorean cuisine? Or probably it's like a Chettinadu cuisine. So that is what a micro niche comes about. For example, taking the same as fitness. In fitness, what do? In fitness, you have broader spectrum. If I put the same cloud kitchen as fitness is industry I pick up in the entire health and wellness space. Fitness is one space I pick up. So in that, my specific niche can be either I want to get into yoga, I want to get into Pilates, I want to get into aerobics. What do I want to get into? Then further, what is the narrower aspect you can get into? Doing say probably, yoga for like teens, or for doing it for diabetics, or doing it for a certain specific niche. You have to drill down that niche very, very well in terms of what is the segment you want to really pick up. You know what happens via that? Now, I'll put the same example to you, what I asked you before this. And I wanted to use a food business example. Why? Because that's something I resonate with. Would you want to idly go in for a Bihari cuisine restaurant, or go in for a Haldiram or a Bikinarwala or a generalist restaurant which does everything? When you're ordering online, let me know in the chat box, guys. A specialist or a generalist? I'm asking you the same question, but I want to know in the chat box. And it will be a resounding specialist restaurant. Reason being that when you're spending your money, you want to go with a specialized vendor, irrespective. And that is why it is very important for you to understand what your niche is, and accordingly get into that spectrum. In my case, in the catering industry, like I told you, I could have gone for 20 other avenues. There are 20 social gatherings, what happened, 20 other aspects happen. But I was clear, if we're getting into the catering segment, we're getting into the outdoor catering segment, which is my specific niche. Then I further get into, doing lounge style catering, which is again, a specific niche. In lounge style catering, we only focused on stadiums and independent venues. That's it. Nothing else. No 20 different things of getting into wedding venues, probably tying up with, with like social wedding planners and all of that. Not at all. Corporate events, and probably that is what the niche is. So that makes your life easier. And most importantly, the most important thing I told you before this, if you just remember, let me just take it back, which is about clarity. Clarity first for your customer. जिससे खरीदना तो पता तो होना चाहिए that he's a specialist into this particular aspect. Second, for your employees, have you seen, and I love this, this quote by someone that, probably, I think it was by Najos Sidhu, probably, that, probably you don't want to be a child running around in a topless bar, not knowing what you want to do exactly, right? It's a very, very funny quote, but, that's actually the truth, if your employees don't really know what they are doing, probably if you're selling blue collar jobs on one day, you're selling, your white collar jobs, or probably, you're focusing on delivery boys recruitment on one day. No, that does not really work out. And for every third party stakeholder, imagine you have media, you have investors, you have third party stakeholders who perceive about your business, who build a reputation about your business. They might not be your customers, but what they lack is clarity. And that is why your micro niche becomes absolutely quintessential. And that's the thought which I wanted to probably share with you and give you some clarity on. But saying that, I again, would be open to questions of any sort. If you think there's some sort of value which is delivered, do reach out to us. Just give me a minute. And I wanted to just share this micro niche aspect with two further examples, which I want to just share from the hospitality industry, because that will give you a lot of clarity. Now, please forgive me, I'm giving a lot of food-based examples, but that's what, like I said, I only understand similar examples. So saying that, now guys, tell me, what do you think, you're able to gauge from a menu like this? Let me know in the chat box. What do you think ये करते क्या हैं ये लोग? मतलब एक menu देख के आपको क्या लग रहा है? What do you think is their niche? Let me know in the chat box, guys. Absolutely, Santosh. I just loved what you mentioned. Okay, Gagan Diwan says clarity. No, not clarity. I'm asking you, is menu se kya dikhta hai? Meal. Snehal says meal. No, meal is. So Srinivas says no niche. I would beg to differ from you, my friend. Go ahead. North Indian 3 typology. Okay, North Indian. Now this is a broader niche. But come to think of it, guys, this is basically home style North Indian meals, which is a specific niche what they picked up. And accordingly, what they've done is they've taken the same menu and they put it into different categories. तो कई बार ऐसा होता है कि अगर आप कोई निश पकड़ते हो, कई बार लॉट ऑफ पीपल आस्क यू दिस क्वेश्चन, यार निश में ना बिजनेस नहीं निकलता, यू हैव टू पिक अप ऑल द बिजनेस इन द मार्केट. बट what I try and tell this to my team also a lot of times, ki boss, niche, if you have a micro niche, right, you can always package it into a certain way that if you see this menu, and I'm just sharing this menu, if you understand this even a bit, you'll understand what he's done. Probably on both sides of the menu it is the same item, but what he's done is he's converted one into a a thali style of combo, one into a mini meals combo, and one into a like an individual combo of sorts. And probably that's how you can also do it. That the same service, if you're into Pilates for only diabetics, or probably you have a certain niche which you figured out, in that also you can probably come up with multiple variants of service categories which clearly suit to the customer, that these are the options they can pick it up. You can give them multiple options and make 3 services look into 12-15, so that it adds a lot of value to the consumer. And he does not feel कि boss है ही नहीं यार, ये तो 3 चीजें दे दी हैं, इनके पास ज्यादा कुछ है नहीं ऑफर करने के लिए. Because like I said, it will not only optimize your cost at the back end, but it will also give you much more profitability, because you have set services. What you're doing is you're changing the packaging of them. Broadly यही हो रहा है. Likewise, if you see this brand, this is a perfect example of micro niche. What is the micro niche of this brand? Tell me. Let me know in the chat box, guys. What is the micro niche of this brand? And this, nobody needs to tell you this. Biryani kebab. Okay, biryani. Anyone else, guys? Biryani. Ashwini says biryani. Absolutely. Now, guys, this is Behroz biryani. Now, here they have not Hyderabadi cuisine, my friend. It is specifically about a broader niche, a specific micro niche around biryani. They didn't want to keep a dal makhni, shahi paneer, probably a Mangalorean cuisine, Chettinadu cuisine. Simple, stick to biryani, and you scale it up and keep some tits and bits. And if you see the menu on the side also, they've tried to basically add the same ingredients to the biryani. Now, my logic of sharing this with you is what? That it is a person going to them knows that they are connoisseurs of biryani. Pehle hi aapko and this gives me back, this gets me back to the same exercise which I've told you to do after this session, is to define your brand story. Now, what Behroz has done is they've sold you the mighty biryani in a story which says that the biryani for which wars were fought, the biryani for which a lot of different elements of the font, if you see, to the royalty, and so on and so forth, a lot of storytelling involved. Now, what does that do? That makes a 100 rupee product convert to a 400 rupee product because of the storytelling involved with it. And that's why if you focus on the niche and you work around the storytelling aspect, you're able to charge a premium. But at the same time, keep your profitability maximum, because you're not deviating too much. You're not keeping like a tandoor section, or probably which is like your breads and all of that. You're not doing like curries and all of that. That adds on to the cost. So that's why when I think about a Behroz biryani, I will order from them. And that's why if I know that this is a Pilates trainer who focuses on probably diabetics, or probably people who prefer keto as a targeting aspect also, I know that he's the right customer for me, and I'll try to target him not only online but in the offline space also. That even if you probably I think we are 50 plus people in the room, I always ask people when I meet them, what is your ask like? Whom do you want to be connected to? So when you speak to other people in your group also, you're very clear. The mark mein clarity rehti hai that today I'm looking to connect with diabetics who want Pilates training and are within the age of so and so, or probably have so and so preferences. That way people are able to recall their references much better. So guys, with this, I think I've tried to cover a lot of aspects around the niche aspect and the micro niche, why it is important, what you should be doing. And like I said, as a task, it will be my humble request to a lot of all the people in this group, that as an exercise, start writing your brand story, because you'll be amazed that once you start writing your brand story about how you started, about how you want people to perceive your brand. Like I told you about Behroz, probably I can remember the example from EY, which is Ernst & Young, which is a consulting company, which says, which had the tagline called quality in everything we do. So can you have something like that probably? Or can you have that ethos, what you can exude? Like if you're a consulting company, you'll try to show the ethos, what you follow back, right? So with that, guys, I think I'm pretty much done with this part. And like I said, please do apply the ABCD model to yourself and see what is the niche which you really fit in. And I'd be more than happy to probably reach out. Feel free to reach out to me if there's anything I can do for you. And with that, I'm open for Q&A. Thank you so much for the opportunity given, and open for questions. Thank you, Avi, for the opportunity. I really appreciate that, and thank you.
Awesome. That was full of energy and so many insights. Notes लिख रहा हूं मैं 2 page के. Thank you, Manvir. Guys, can we all? What was our biggest? Okay, so हमने क्या किया है? Parth, can you put the link of that group and the picture? Parth, please put the link to that group. So guys, Parth is going to give you a link to that group, okay? Facebook group, जिसपे हमने आपसे लिखा है क्वेश्चन कि आपने सबसे बड़ी चीज क्या सीखी, टॉप 5, कोई भी एक चीज जो आपने सीखी, which is like, oh my god, ये तो मेरे को अपने बिजनेस में लेके जाना है, ये आइडिया, ब्रांड स्टोरी हो गया, नीशिंग डाउन हो गया, जैसे वो बिरयानी वाला एग्जांपल वाज वेरी नाइस कि एक ही चीज है, सो यू नोन एज अ बिरयानी स्पेशलिस्ट और मटन बिरयानी स्पेशलिस्ट ओनली, या सिर्फ वेज, जो भी आपने चीज सीखी, जो मैंने लिखे हैं नोट्स, आपने क्या लिखा, सो प्लीज कैरी. मनवीर, व्हाट एनर्जी, ग्रेट ऑरा, सिंपली ऑसम. यस, आई एग्री. बिल्कुल फ्लो में आप चलते हो फ्रॉम द हार्ट. दैट इज अमेजिंग. ओके, सो पार्थ हैज पुट द लिंक टू द फेसबुक ग्रुप. गाइस, मनवीर जी, मैं आपको भी रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा इफ यू कैन जॉइन दैट ग्रुप, बिकॉज वी हैव लॉट्स ऑफ पीपल हियर. And if you're also part of that community, you'll meet a lot of amazing people here as well, and we would also love to know सबको अच्छा लगेगा अगर आप भी उस पे हैं तो.
Absolutely.
Okay, so guys, please put the link, put the answer to the question over here. ओके, मैं आपको अभी आपकी रिक्वेस्ट अभी एक्सेप्ट कर लेता हूँ. One of the best things that I've done, Manvir, in the last 1 month is कि मैंने अपने फोन से, जो मेरा रोज का यूज करने वाला फोन है, उसमें से मैंने सारे एप्स हटा दिए, लाइक सोशल मीडिया एप्स. तो उससे क्या होता है ना कि लाइफ में बहुत शांति हो गई है. When I come to the office, यहाँ डेस्क पे आता हूँ तो ये फोन पड़ा है, यहाँ से जो करना है कर लिया, उसके बाद छोड़ दिया. Oh my God, पता ही नहीं लगता कि अगर कोई आदमी, मुझे लगता है कि कोई आदमी अगर आपके बैंक में जाके धीरे धीरे से पैसे निकालना शुरू कर दे तो आप, आदमी पागल हो जाएगा, क्या कर रहा है यार दुनिया मेरे. सेम चीज यहाँ हो रही है. हम ये एप्स हमारा थोड़ा थोड़ा 5 मिनट इधर 10 मिनट इधर, पता ही नहीं लगता 1 घंटा निकल गया और कुछ भी नहीं किया. So okay, so guys, have all of you people put your questions? How many people have put the question? Just put Q in the comments, please. So a lot of food entrepreneurs are coming to us, how to set up things and what to do. I will also be putting up all of your details on all of our channels. Yes. So yes, we will just share all the contact page once again. And in the meanwhile, first, can we have all 52 people, put your biggest takeaway, because Manvir is also going to be there. We're going to learn के साथ टाइम निकाल के आप लोगों ने क्या सीखा. Awesome. Manvir, अब मेरा next question है आपसे. What's next? What is Manvir Singh Anand be doing in the next, say, 24 months from now?
So honestly, like I said, in not a very pedestal format, I would say, the current last 6 months has been basically about getting the business back, because like I said, no matter what you do, your bread and butter has to be has to come back to where it was. And
Right.
I've been very fortunate that I mean, things have been very positive, and we've been just trying to get the team back, because we're a pretty decent company, and we have a decent payroll that way. So what really happens is that to get the entire team back, get the same morale back. So last 6 months has been about that. But the interesting thing you asked me about is what is the next 2 years, which I'm focusing on. So like I said, the next 6 months would be primarily focused around getting, like I said, scaling it and getting the company back, because I always fundamentally believe that your niche, the riches are in the niche, right? And my niche has to come back to the scale it was, which it was,
True.
and probably scale it to a different level. But the second thing is this company called TKG Ventures, what we started, which is a coaching, consulting, and incubation vertical, wherein which we're trying to empower the next generation of food entrepreneurs. Now, what we do is, I don't know, you're sitting in Canada, so you understand the Thrasio model, right? The buy and scale concept, which is
Okay. What is that?
about. So that's basically a Thrasio concept, wherein which you buy into existing food brands, and with knowledge, with capital and resources, you try and scale them up.
Okay.
So that's the 1-200 strategy. So 0 to 1 people who've done, so probably co-invest with them and try to scale that up to a next level. So that's the core focus, we as a company are looking at, because like I said, our bread and butter typically still comes from the event hospitality business we do. But I think the next growth driver for our business is going to be really partnering up with these existing entrepreneurs and scaling their businesses to a level with equity involved, so that in that process, we have a next growth cycle, that even if probably another pandemic comes in, we have a very well hedged B2C business which is in being. So that's where that's the personal aspect. But in the broader aspect, like I said, the idea is that I think hospitality is a beautiful industry, and I think no matter people understand this or not, it's one of the largest employers of across the world, right? I
Right.
mean, you travel across the world. So I think if people can really leverage upon this particular business and learn what I have done, I didn't have any background in the hospitality industry when I started, but if it can give me livelihood, it can really impact a lot of people. So like I said, the coaching and the co-investing part, I really want to focus on this for the next 1.5 year after the next 6 months, because next 6 months are crucial for a core business. And that is where I
True.
see a great potential coming up for us. And
Okay.
yeah, that's where the focus is.
मनवीर, मेरा आपसे एक नेक्स्ट सवाल ये था that entrepreneurs like you and many of the people who are here, me, हमारे को हमेशा हमारे एक पाँव होता है कि आज का जो मेरा ब्रेड एंड बटर है, अगर वो आएगा तो मैं बड़े सपने देख सकता हूँ, अदरवाइज तो मेरे को पेरोल ही मेरा मीट नहीं होगा, या मेरे एक्सपेंसेस ही नहीं होंगे, या मेरा ही कैश होम डिलीवरी, मैं ही अपने ही कैश, तो मेरी फैमिली ही दुखी होगी, यार तुम पैसे तो बना नहीं रहे हो। तो पहले तो एक पाँव तो मेरा प्रेजेंट में हो गया कि मेरे को अपना ध्यान रखना है, अपनी कंपनी के आज का। एक हमारा हमेशा पाँव होता है कि यार आगे क्या हो रहा है मार्केट में, व्हाट कैन आई डू। सो जैसे वो पोल वॉल्ट होता है ना, वो चलते चलते आता है और वो पोल वॉल्ट आता है और वो नेक्स्ट लेवल पे वो चले जाता है। सो हाउ इम्पोर्टेंट, ये पैंडेमिक के बाद बहुत चीजें हम लोगों को समझ आई है। सो हाउ इम्पोर्टेंट इज इट टू नो कि मेरे जो पाँव है वो इस आज की जमीन पे पूरे फर्मली गड़ गए हैं, और अब मैं कोई दूसरी, क्योंकि कोई भी चीज अगर हम करते हैं, कुछ नया, कुछ बड़ा, कुछ डिफरेंट, उसमें टाइम और मनी की इन्वेस्टमेंट लगती है फ्रॉम द एग्जिस्टिंग पूल। अब कोविड के बाद एग्जिस्टिंग पूल इतने से इतना हो गया है, आप जैसे बिल्कुल ठीक कह रहे हो, बहुत लोग वापस अपने पुराने पूल में वापस आ रहे हैं। मान लीजिए 1 करोड़ रुपए महीने का रेवेन्यू था, तो 40-50 लाख आ गया। इट्स लुकिंग वेरी गुड, क्योंकि ये 40-50 लाख रुपए उस पहले के 1 करोड़ से बेटर प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी दिखा रहे हैं। तो यार बेटर प्रॉफिटेबिलिटी है, क्योंकि सब कुछ टाइट करके रखा हुआ है, वेरी गुड। लेकिन अब वापस 1 करोड़ तक जाना है, लेकिन साथ में कुछ नए आइडियाज भी दिख रहे हैं, यार ये भी कर सकता हूँ, ये भी कर सकता हूँ। अब इसी में से फंड निकलेगा और इसी में से पैसे निकलेंगे, और ये अभी वापस पूरा भी नहीं हुआ है। सो हाउ डू यू थिंक एंटरप्रेन्योर्स शुड बैलेंस कि जो वो आज कर रहे हैं वर्सेस कल का सपना? क्योंकि ज्यादातर मैंने एक गलती होते हुए देखी है, बहुत जल्दी हम 2-3 चीजों पे काम करना शुरू कर देते हैं, और जो एग्जिस्टिंग होती है ना, जो दाल रोटी उसमें आंच आ जाती है.
Absolutely, absolutely.
हाँ जी.
I think मैं कई हद तक आपसे रेजोनेट करता हूँ. एंड माय फंडामेंटल थीसिस, जो मेरा लॉजिक भी था बोलने का, कि देखिए, we can talk about all the, for a lack of a better word, sexy things on a public platform, right?
Right.
But eventually for entrepreneurs, and I always fundamentally believe you have to sit on the ground and do business. जमीन पे बैठ के काम होता है, ऐसे हवा में काम नहीं होता.
ठीक बात है.
So the fundamental thesis there always goes in that, always remember that your niche is so important कि जो main core है ना, उससे deviate नहीं करना. But always value and respect the power of something called as side hustles. Side hustle in itself has been one of the best learnings I have had as an entrepreneur, and that's where I'd like to share another learning from you. What my learning has taught me in the last 2 years, to be precise, out of, because कहते हैं ना, मैं मानता हूँ हर बंदे के जिंदगी में 2 बिजनेस होने चाहिए, एक वोकेशन ड्रिवन बिजनेस और एक वैल्यूएशन बिजनेस.
ओके.
आज की डेट में क्या है कि आई नो माय इवेंट हॉस्पिटैलिटी, माय केटरिंग बिजनेस इज माय वोकेशन बिजनेस. मेरे को रात को भी बोलोगे ना, आई वांट टू डू दैट बिजनेस बिकॉज़ आई एम जस्ट सो पैशनेट अबाउट दिस. I'm that's really thriving business. I love the event hustle and so on and so forth. But during a pandemic, I was down to zero. I was sitting in my room, I don't know what to do. And that's where, you have to realize कि जो काम चल रहा है, while it will take its time to come back, always start building upon a valuation business with like-minded people, and they should be like projects. Now it is not a business per se.
I like that. That's a very good point.
The moment you say it is a business, आपका दिमाग अलग चलता है. But the moment it's a side project, boss, अगर मैंने the first thing I said, Google's core business is search engine. They're deviating. Why? Because you have to look 10 years down the line, right?
Yeah.
Like today, I am sitting out of my business. I want to build I want to build a 100 crore catering business. I need a team of 1,000 people. But if I want to scale up brands, I can do the same in 200 people.
Sure.
So that's where my thesis is working. That probably while the core business, जो रोजी रोटी, and I always fundamentally believe ये सब जो हम बातें कर रहे हैं, ये सब तब होना चाहिए जब, I always believe, because मेरी बुक का नाम था केटरिंग योर वे टू फाइनेंशियल इंडिपेंडेंस, एंड मैं फाइनेंशियल इंडिपेंडेंस को बहुत ज्यादा वैल्यू करता हूँ. और फाइनेंशियल इंडिपेंडेंस का एक ही तात्पर्य है दैट योर पैसिव इनकम शुड एक्सीड योर एक्टिव इनकम. तो आप जो भी अभी अगर आप अभी स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं, तो द फर्स्ट थिंग यू शुड फोकस ऑन इज टू बिल्ड योर कैपिटल. फर्स्ट एंड फॉरमोस्ट थिंग, डोंट डिविएट एट दैट पर्टिकुलर जंक्चर. You're making like 5 lakh, 10 lakh, 20 lakh rupee accrual. MRR, ARR means nothing. Eventually, what matters is, are you holding a 5 crore, 6 crore, 7 crore, or even a 1.5, 2 crore corpus through which you're generating passive income, which covers your basic expenses.
Lovely. And
after that, you start thinking the other way, which is that now that I have achieved a certain degree of financial independence, my family is hedged. My family does not need to worry about me. That's when you can focus on these side hustles, and through that you start collaborating with your staff, with your team members, and you tell them that, guys, you take the lead, and wherever I'm needed, I'll give you the support. And if you have the right kind of, if you have the right, I always, and this is the line I really stand by, and I think you've done that beautifully, that your vibe attracts your tribe, right?
Sure.
The vibe you exude will attract the kind of tribe you want to get. And if you can get hold of the right set of people, they are the ones who drive things forward. And then alongside, with them, they are the ones who will show you the next path. And that's where I think that, if, through the scale up, opportunity I was discussing with you about, there the focus is to just partner up with entrepreneurs. वो मुझे लगता है कि मैंने तो अभी तक इंडियन entrepreneurial sector तो मैंने अभी छाटा ही नहीं है. What I've done right now is, and I just love what you're doing, because I personally have a community of 3,500 people who've done our courses of Cloud Kitchen. But I fundamentally believe that if we start partnering up with these people, there's a massive bank of massive pool of people who are raring to go. What they need is 3 things: knowledge, capital, resources. That's it. And we as and like I always say, we are all we are all in the same boat, but at different junctures, right? Different journeys, right? किसी की बोट छोटी है, किसी की बड़ी है, but सबके सब हैं वही समुंदर में. अगर एक दूसरे को हेल्प करोगे तो नाव बड़ी होती जाएगी and probably we can make a cruise out of that.
Beautiful. ब्यूटीफुल ब्यूटीफुल, आई लव दैट। बहुत अच्छा लगा जो आपने इसको प्रोजेक्ट बोला ना, उससे बहुत क्लैरिटी मिल गई सबको, हम सबको। बिकॉज जब आप, बिल्कुल ठीक बोला आपने, क्योंकि अगर उसको बिजनेस बोलते हैं तो फिर हम दो बच्चे हैं तो दोनों पे इक्वल वो करना है, नहीं। आप दिस इज वन चाइल्ड एंड वंस इन अ वीक यू मे बी गो समवेयर एल्स टू टेक केयर ऑफ some project on the side. So that is very very important. Even I like the fact के छोटी नाव है, बड़ी नाव है, सब लोग समुद्र में अगर सब एक दूसरे से लड़ने लग जाएंगे तो किसी को बड़ी नाव भी कहाँ चलेगी, उसको भी पेट्रोल छोटी नाव ने ही लेके आना है उस चीज के ऊपर। और आज लोगों को समझ आ गई है कि इट्स इज द कोलैबोरेशन करो, बात करते रहो लोगों से, यू नेवर नो कौन सी बात कहाँ निकल जाती है। आई रियली लव व्हेन यू सेड 1, 1.5, 2, 5 करोड़, जो भी आपको लगता है कि 5 करोड़ किया आपने, उसको स्टॉक मार्केट में डाला, जहां भी आपकी इन्वेस्टमेंट में डाला, आपको पता है कि यार मेरे 2, 4, 5 साल का खर्चा, मेरी फैमिली पे कोई आंच नहीं आने वाली, अब मैं फ्रंट फुट पे खेलूंगा, फेल हो गया तो फेल हो गया। तो वो एक बात करना उस पे। सो सो ऑल ऑफ यू पीपल हु आर लिसनिंग, प्रोजेक्ट करते चलिए, कॉर्पस बनाते चलिए। बिना कॉर्पस के आप किसी भी आइडिया को बहुत ज्यादा लेवल पे नहीं ले जा पाओगे, बिकॉज जो आज चीज हाथ में है वो भी निकल जाएगी, और दूसरी चीज के ऊपर एंग्जाइटी, और ये बहुत बड़ी चीज हो गई है। लाइक आई मस्ट हैव स्पोकन टू एटलीस्ट 100 एंटरप्रेन्योर्स। अभी बीच में एक इवेंट था कनाडा में, and I'd gone to meet people. And the one thing that I found common between the entrepreneurs that I met here in Canada, and so the 45-minute talk, उसके बाद लोग आते हैं आपसे बात करने के लिए, और the thing in common with India was that people said, यार you know what they said, Manvir, is business आपने कैसे बढ़ाया, आपने डिजिटल बोला, आपने वीडियोस बोला, ये सब नहीं बात करी उन्होंने। They spoke about के यार नींद नहीं आती, डर लगता है, जो फंड्स थे वो खत्म हो गए, अब उम्र थोड़ी ज्यादा हो गई जो उनके हिसाब से, नया बिजनेस इंटरनेट अब समझ नहीं आता, इट्स डिफिकल्ट टू डू, कहाँ से शुरुआत करें कहाँ नहीं करें, पहले तो मकान था, दुकान था, रियल एस्टेट था, ये था। सो आपका इज अ वेरी ब्यूटिफुल पैंडेमिक स्टोरी टू से कि पैंडेमिक में बिकेम अ पर्सनल ब्रांड। यू सॉ, आप कहते हो ना, मेरी नानी होती है अभी तो बोलती है कि मुंडा कितना सोना बोल रहा है। यू स्पीक सो वेल, you've written the book, and I love the title of the book, catering your way to financial success. I mean, it is so hard hitting. अगर मेरा उस, मतलब I want catering, क्यों करूं मैं financial success? Beautiful name. 2 TED talks you've done. I'm sure your family and your everybody is in your house is very very proud of you. मैं आपको आज पहली बार मिला हूं, but I'm feeling so proud of you, and I'm sure all of us here are as well. So guys, are we all feeling proud of Manvir? Can we just say proud in the comments? Because I think we all are. बिकॉज आपने आज सबको एक वो दे दिया है कि एक ब्लूप्रिंट, वेरी क्लियर ब्लूप्रिंट ऑन एग्जैक्टली कैसे सोचना है, कैसे करना है। सो दैट वाज मनवीर सिंह आनंद। गाइस, मनवीर, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर योर टाइम. I look forward to staying in touch. I'll just exchange numbers with you, and look forward to staying in touch. And anything that we can do together, let's keep talking. You never know what happens.
Absolutely, looking forward, man. Looking forward.
Awesome.